G'day and welcome to Aussie Vision. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by the one and only Daniel Estrin from Australia's Eurovision 2023 entry, Voyager. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you. So good to be here and so excited to be representing Australia. Finally, it feels right. This is the moment.
Well, it's a very good segue into my first question here, because look, we know you've been a Eurovision fan for a long time. We know Voyager has been knocking on the door to SBS for years to kind of go to Eurovision, and now look, the moment's finally come. How does it feel to be Australia's representative for Eurovision? Now it's finally happening.
It just feels right. It really does, especially after the popular vote last year was overwhelmingly in our favor, and it feels right to be at the end of a journey which started effectively in 2016 or so with that hashtag Voyager for Eurovision, and then we submitted our song. It almost got into the top 10. That was Runaway. It featured briefly on Australia Decides, as the ones that didn't make it, the ones that got away. And then me and Ash went to Australia Decides, me and the drummer, and just mingled and really just soaked it all in. And then of course, and then in between, I went to actual Eurovision Tel Aviv, which was phenomenal. And here we are. Like it makes so much sense, and it makes especially a lot of sense because for so long, people have been telling us on our tours, whatever it is, UK, USA, Japan, Mexico, people are like, you guys would be great on Eurovision. And finally we can say, yes, we agree, and we would like to show you how great.
Oh, that's awesome. And you obviously were announced on Wednesday. We're at Friday here, so it's been a good 48 hours or so. It has felt like this kind of massive circus. There's been so much interest from the media here and from the fans. Now that announcement happened, what's the last couple of days been like for all of you to take all this in?
It's just insane. It's been so crazy. Like, we were bracing ourselves for a media storm, but it was just, I don't think the magnitude of it quite hits you when you're in it and you're just running like a hamster in a wheel, going, doing the project on Channel 10, and then you're meeting the deputy premier here, and then you're doing this and that, and the Age and the Guardian, and you're like, oh my God. And then you see one of your childhood news presenters say the words synth metal, and you're like, what? And it's just this surreal thing that a lot of, I guess, the local press and the local media, it's just making our parents so proud. The mums and dads are out there just like, my son was this, my daughter was this. It's just gold. It's just gold. So it's giving back to our parents for all the music lessons that they had to cart us around for. But it feels right, and it feels like the love is there and the support is there, and it kind of feels a little similar, I think, to when we did Australia Decides in terms of the support, just on a ridiculous scale. Like, the magnitude is phenomenal, but we're still very much grounded. My head's not quite in the clouds just yet.
Oh, well, look, you're allowed to enjoy this moment at this stage. Just, take it all in. And actually, you just brought up synth metal. And look, I think there's been a lot of chat about the genre of your music, but I actually wanted to ask about the actual song itself, Promise. So was it written with Eurovision in mind? And what was the development process of coming up with the song?
Yeah. So synth metal is an interesting one because it's probably as close as you can get in defining what we do in like two words, rather than using epic electro power progressive pop metal that people are, what the hell is that? And what's interesting is people struggle, and I've seen a few of the reaction videos as well. People struggle with, they're just like, I can't classify this, what's going on? And they're really struggling with that, I think, in a positive way, and it's challenging the listeners and challenging the viewers. And we've always done a mishmash of various genres. So the fact that it's making people think already and confusing people is awesome, because if they kind of like it but they're not sure, then with time that's going to be drilled into their skulls. It will work out. So to get back to your question, Dreamer was not written for Eurovision, but it was chiseled for Eurovision into from a 4.5 minute song into a 3-minute song, and given a bit of pep and a bit of drama. Promise was absolutely written with Eurovision in mind, because we wanted to make sure that we are, and for the first time, writing for something that's the stage. When you write music as a composer, you're not thinking about staging necessarily. You're thinking about the song, the emotions, all that sort of stuff. And while Dreamer was awesome, it was dynamic and it pulled back and forth, but it wasn't a multi-level story. And I really wanted to write a song that was a story where it starts off with a person who's never heard of Voyager, watching this going, okay. And you can see this in the reaction videos, people go, "Oh, it's rock. What the hell?" And then it pulls back. And then it kind of just, it just grooves along for a bit. And then back it goes into rock. And then the heavens open and it just crushes you into metal. And people are like, "What?" And there's a growl and people are just freaking out. And then it's this beautiful, this sort of calm after the storm where you kind of get, this regeneration, and then this glorious ending with guitar solo and guitar solo. So did we try to jam a lot into the song? Absolutely. But it's 3 minutes where we've got on the world stage to impress all the different things that we do and we do well, and we've got to condense it into 3 minutes. And to be perfectly honest, I know there's conjecture. Some people go, "I prefer Dreamer," and this. Like this song, I think, is a better song for Eurovision because of the staging, because the drama, the character development that it builds is with Eurovision in mind. So it was a really, really interesting way to write, and a really refreshing way to write songs, because you don't really think about staging, as I said, when you're writing.
Yeah, no, you can definitely see that in the song itself. I think if we could see that the whole way through, that journey that you take us on, and those moments, that growl moment is going to be epic, and that finish is going to be out of this world. Are you already starting to think about what the staging is going to look like? I'm sure you can't tell us very much at this point, but do you have a vision?
For sure. I do have a vision, and particularly like in things like the breakdown, you want to make it dramatic. I think what'll be difficult is with a band, because you've got 5 people on stage already, is not to overdo it. Like if you just go all crazy lights and stuff happening, all that, people are just going to be like, "Wow, it's too much." So you want to build it nicely, and I guess it's easier in some ways being a solo artist, because the focus is on that solo artist, right? Whereas with a band, you've got different faces. You've got 3 minutes. People are like, "Whoa!" Normally they've got a whole show where they start getting used to the various members, the various personalities in the band and what they do. And you can sort of channel your energy differently. But here it's like, it's go, go, go. So to make sure it's not a sensory overload, because it seems like to a lot of people, the music already is a sensory overload. They're like, "I don't know what to do with this." There's like a few categories of people. There's like the people who go, "Oh, I don't like this." "Oh, I don't like rock music. I don't like this." And then there's the people who are like, "Yeah, I don't really like rock music, but this is really cool. Like, I'm really, really digging this." And they're getting it, and they're understanding the song, and they're thinking it's catchy, and they're getting on board. And then there's the people who are like, "I've never heard anything like this before. Like, it's just blowing my mind." And that's awesome. And I think if we can capture at least category 2 and 3 and bring that to the next level, maybe the ones will come along as well.
Exactly. And look, actually, that's interesting. I might skip to a question I had further down here, because the fans, and obviously you've been seeing all the reactors and Eurovision. Obviously, you would have had this with Australia Decides to a point, the analysis, the commentary, all that from like people like us, right? And then now with Eurovision, I think it just goes to a whole new level.
Yeah.
How are you finding that experience with this kind of microscope on the entry, and you as a band?
I love it. I think it's so interesting. And I love watching it. I don't care if it's negative or it's positive. Like, I love watching it because, firstly, the people who do these reaction videos are just characters unto themselves, which is amazing. So they're a lot of fun watching. Some reaction videos, I'm like, you're not even reacting. You're just sitting there like this. And it's like, but what I love is that, and especially as a musician and as a band who composes and writes their own songs, we've got 7 studio albums. I like seeing people analyze the music and feel something. I would hate for people to go, "Yeah, that is just that's the worst." If people are shocked, if people are dismayed, whatever, that is the absolute. And if they're interested in the structure and if they're interested in the songwriting, then that's a win for me. Because I remember speaking to a friend of mine who played in a very popular sort of, let's call them a Triple J band, you know, the festival. They did all the Splendor. They were big for about 2 or 3 years, huge. And he was saying, and I was saying, oh, I'd love to play the big festivals. And he was saying, mate, I would love to have forums on the internet of people analysing my music as a musician. That would mean so much to me. And it was really funny because it was a real grass is greener type moment where he wanted what I have and I wanted what he had. And he's like, yeah, people just come up to you in festival and go, I like your song. And then they forget about you. Whereas he was really into that dissection and that analysis, which we've got with the reaction videos, with the forums, with the Reddits, and I can't wait to do a roast video where we just read out the worst comments. It's going to be so satisfying. The hate is the most satisfying part.
Brilliant. Oh, we'd love to see that. That would be fantastic.
It's going to be. We've already got some pearlers. I'm like, whenever friends send me something, I'm just like, put it in the vault. I want to read that out. Right.
Awesome. Actually, one thing, even as much as everyone is reacting particularly to the genre and the music and the growls, one thing that keeps coming up is your hair. So a lot of people who don't obviously know you yet from Australia Decides or may have forgotten, there's a lot of obsession with it, and people are really want to know about your hair routine. So what is the secret of Daniel Estrin's hair?
Well, as you can see, I got halfway to shaving it, and then I stopped, and I thought this is a bad idea. I don't know, like it's naturally like that. Funnily enough, when I came to Australia from Germany, it was straight, and then Australia kind of just curled it up and made it all weird. Look, is there a bit of Moroccan oil in there? Maybe there is. Am I angling for an endorsement? Maybe I am. I love it. Ever since Australia Decides, and there was a few free products that were given to me by Moroccan Oil, I have been using them for quite some time. So there is a lot in that. Yes, I did make the switch from Oleo Curl Kerastars to a bit of Moroccan oil. So
so right, we grabbed some freebies as well in Turin. So it's been used in Aussie Vision HQ as well.
Look, the hair, people think, yeah, people, some people like it, some people think it's weird. I knew it would be polarizing, but people pick on anything. So as you can see, I'm quite grey, and I'm rocking the grey, and I'm rocking the Cruella de Vil, sort of the grey streak. That gets redone once in a while, but otherwise it's just shampoo and condition, I guess.
No major secret then. Just quickly back on Australia Decides, obviously you guys did it. You got to, and you've been doing like gigs for forever, right? And you guys are so experienced at doing things like that. But Australia Decides being this kind of TV performance, this competition performance, what did you take away from that you're kind of putting into your entry this year? Did you have some learnings from it?
Oh, huge. And it was such a different experience, because when you play live, you are looking at the audience and you get energy from the audience. So if they're loving it, then you bring it back, and you find, you know, it's like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden once said, you got to find the person right at the back of the room and you sing to them. So that's the live environment. And then TV is completely different, because what you would normally do in the live environment, when you're thinking, oh, I'm doing a lot with, you know, gesticulating, whatever, it comes across on television as boring. So you've got to do so much more. You've got to be like, I'm ridiculous. But if you feel ridiculous, it's just right for television. And what was really interesting also is the fact that, yes, you're there and there's a crowd there, an audience, but you've got cameras. So you've got to, you know, you've got to make love to the camera, which I've got no problem with. But it's grabbing the energy from the audience, giving it back to them at the same time as targeting it to the viewers at home, because they're the ones who are going to be sitting there going, nah, don't like it, nah, you know, and that's who you've got to impress. So if you have to make a little bit more of a clown out of yourself than you normally would, and because it's so condensed into 3 minutes, it's literally the cardio workout of your life. So my one word of advice for any like Eurovision contestant is just do cardio.
Actually, talking about that's an insight, actually. But talking about the other contestants, have you checked out any of the other entries, any of the other songs? We've only got about half of them yet. Anything jumping out at you so far?
Yeah. I like Queen of Kings. Queen of Kings is great. It's I want to do a metal version of it because it sounds like a metal song. So if she brings the energy, I think that's a really good one. I love Spain. Spain's really interesting, super different. It's just, I love it. There was a few where I was like, okay, it's not too bad. I wasn't really super grabbed by anything. What I've heard from Amber Lambrew's song, I thought was really cool, actually. Very catchy. I like a good melody. I was like, all right, I'm going to hang out with Andrew for a while. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And of course the Slavic, the Yugo contingent, and never fails to impress with the craziness, the costumes, and the controversy. So I've been loving it so far. I know France is very popular. I think it's a cool song, and I think the aesthetic I think appeals. It's just, what would you describe it as? It's like Edith Piaf mixed with Daft Punk or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like disco chanson. It's
Disco
very
chanson.
It's very hard. It's a bit like, to nail it down in genres can be hard, just like you guys, right? And I mean, that's the beauty of Eurovision. There's so many different genres and different things that come out of it. So
it's so awesome. There's a couple, I can't think of them at the moment so they must not be that memorable. But I think they're probably the standout ones for the moment, I'd say. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we've obviously only got about half of them, so a lot more to come. Now we've had the announcement. Obviously, there's a lot more things happening before Liverpool. What are the next steps for you guys? Like, obviously, you got to prepare. You're going over to the preview parties, but what does the next 6 weeks or so look like for you guys?
A lot of media, a lot of content, a lot of just listening to the other songs and doing covers like we did last time, because that was so much fun. I really want to do more of that. I just love it. I love putting our own spin on things. So. And then, of course, staging. So looking at staging, looking at costumes, looking at what we want it to actually look like. And then hopefully between those things, getting some sleep as well. It would be quite nice. But I think until the end of May, sleep is not going to be a thing.
Yeah, you don't need it. Don't worry about it. And so, look, once you're there in May, you've finished Liverpool and you're on the plane coming back to Australia, what will success look like for you? What would you be happy with?
And I'm not saying I don't want to win, because I do, but to be honest, success to me is already having the opportunity to do this. Because, we've got an Australian tour planned for the end of June. We've got a European tour planned for October. We've got a new album coming out in September. So you're doing Eurovision is the best album publicity campaign you could actually wish for. But having gone there and having put on the best possible show that we can, have had the most amount of fun that we can possibly have, enjoy every single minute. And if I'm back on that plane and have ticked the boxes for all those things, including hopefully being roasted by Graham Norton, then I will be a very, very happy man.
Well, I think we would be very happy as fans for you just to go out and do a great show, as you said, and wherever the cards fall, they fall. It's Eurovision. The main thing is you go out there and just enjoy yourself and smash it out. So thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. Really appreciated it. And good luck for the next few weeks. I'm sure we'll talk to you again before Liverpool.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the support last year, this year. It's been great, and happy to speak to you guys anytime.
Our pleasure. All right. Thanks, Danny.
Awesome. Cheers.